That's exciting. It's wonderful to see so many friends' faces out there, and makes it a little easier to just be myself. So, so yes, I am Helen Rousseau, and I think just about everybody knows me from Kennebunk here. I'm a writer, mostly poetry, an artist, and an interfaith minister. And I'd like to welcome you all who've taken this time to allow me to share my poetry with you. I want to thank the Kennebunk Free Library, and especially Allison Atkins, who helped to organize this and send out press releases, and also Denise, who is helping out tonight. At this very moment that we are gathering, church bells are ringing across the country to remember the 400,000 who have died from COVID-19. Candles are being lit and vigils are being held. Let us take a minute to join them in mourning as I light my candle. Oh my goodness. Hi, Marcy. I have someone here from Arizona. This is wonderful. All right. And as I say in the dedication to my book, with gratitude for those first responders and healthcare workers who ignore the buzz of politics and do an outstanding job day after day, taking their lives into their hands, serving COVID-19 patients. So I'll be reading from my new poetry book, Poems for a World on Fire, Meditations on Hope. I will now read from the introduction, which explains the feelings that welled up in me and led me to write many of these poems. And I want to thank you ahead of time for listening with open ears and open hearts. If at any time I sound preachy, please forgive me. I was a nun for too many years, and I thought I had all the answers, so I hope that doesn't come through. There isn't any denying that the world is on fire. Wars around the globe, fires in the West, loss of animal habitat worldwide, refugees fleeing lands that have been devastated by war or by global warming, and so many other things, too long to list here, that could cause us to freeze up and be unable to move. But there is hope, and that is what I like to focus on. In last Sunday's audience section of the Portland Press Herald, there was an interview with the main poet, Richard Blanco, who said, "Poets and artists, when things seem to be going well, we're always looking under the hood to see what's not working. But when things are really bad, we try to find the light at the end of the tunnel." And I'd like to add, to be a light in the tunnel. From the young environmentalist activist Greta Thunberg, who spoke to power at the United Nations saying, "Our house is on fire," she also said, "How dare you," a few times, for leaving this earth in such a sad shape that she and her generation need to clean up after us. Then there are the thousands who plant trees and the others who help animals who are facing extinction. From these young people and all who are contributing to positive change, I find hope. Hope and trust in the earth's ability to heal itself will help us welcome in change, to be willing to do the hard work that needs to get done to get back to balance. Hope is in each one of us who sees our neighbor as a friend and not an enemy. Everything on earth goes in cycles: the seasons, birth and death, illness and health. Can hope be contagious and change the downward spiral that we are in? Can hope improve our lives? I'm counting on it. I have been inspired by so many poets and writers like Robin Wall Kimmerer, who wrote Braiding Sweetgrass. In it, she captures the true reverence between Native Americans and the earth, the relationship that we need to survive. I'm moved to action by the voice of the Dalai Lama in his new book, Our Only Home, a climate appeal to the world, and by a book called World of Wonder, where the author, and I won't pronounce her name right, but I'll try, Amy Nekudzu-Matumatil, introduces us to some endangered species and ones we have never heard of, but who are vital to life. One statistic that threw me was that out of a class of 22 students in a suburban school, elementary school, 17 had never heard of fireflies. Most said they don't go outside, but are before the computer and the television. But in areas where there is too much light, fireflies will only be found on the edges of towns. She also said that in her college classes, many students can't tell the difference between a maple and an oak leaf. And that would be discouraging, but I'm still not discouraged because I read all the time about all the different things around the world that people are doing. I can't get enough of seeing these people and seeing the videos. So I first began gathering poems for this collection in 2019, concerned about the huge issues facing us and our planet. Then the novel coronavirus came along, and poems began to pour out of me as I stayed home and had the time and solitude to reflect on all the world was going through. I read somewhere that how to eat a poem. Poems are not meant to be eaten and swallowed whole. They are meant to be savored, taking time to get the rich flavors of the poem. I've had more than one friend tell me that they sat down and intended to go through my little book in an evening, but as they read, they realized they had to slow down and sit with each poem, absorb the message, and ask what meaning it had for them. So I've divided the poem book into 3 sections, and I will read 5 poems from each, taking a few moments between to just be. If you want to clap, you can, but I won't hear you, but that's all right. I'll give you a minute. So the first section is called Courage. And I begin with a poem that I wrote at a time in my life when I had been in a really dark place and I was seeking courage. It's called A Place of Comfort. Bottom of the well empty, I stood before the wild mother, breathed in her holy sea breath as breezes caressed my lost soul. I was home again, hungry, thirsty, seeking comfort, not available for too many years. Every spare moment found me there, lost in her embrace, resurrecting feelings long dormant. She was always waiting, welcoming my arrival with salty tears and gentle enfoldment. Day after day, I let her energize me, fill me with courage. Now, wherever I am, she is within me, my soul renewed, trusting all is well in the ebb and flow of life. The next poem I will read is called Trust. In fear, I contract, fold in on myself, creating barriers I presume will make me safe. Keeping at bay what scares me, I forget that an embrace of fear releases its bindings. Like a butterfly, I work to uncoil from the cocoon, which protected my fragility. With trust, I expand, arise from the silence within, move forward to spread my wings, trusting I will be held aloft by life, where the winds of change challenge me in new directions. And I have to say that trust has been a big element throughout my life. My spirituality has changed drastically from the time that I was a little Catholic girl and I was a nun to my beliefs today. But there's never been a time when I haven't trusted in whatever I call God or the future or the universe, that somehow that I was being held. And that's what keeps me trusting. The next poem is called Creative Solitude. With few distractions and no commitments, during this time of social distancing. I am challenged by my solitude. It calls me to live deeply with an inner strength I didn't know I had. Ordered to stay inside to stop the spread of a virus ordered to stay inside to stop the spread of a virus that challenges the best medical minds. Every decision I make to live safely is a gift to myself and others. In this quiet space, I access the creativity that becomes my partner in isolation. I accept the opportunity this presents, aware of how lucky I am. When the cocoon becomes too confining, a butterfly emerges. When the rain stops and the sun appears from behind the clouds, a rainbow is painted across the sky. When death becomes a daily event, life feels more precious than ever. The next one is called The Phoenix, and I do have to say I have another poem about writing, speaking to a robin. So I do believe birds can speak to us. Take that how you want it, but I feel very connected to the earth and the flowers and the birds, and as many of you are also. This is called The Phoenix. Don't be afraid of the ashes, said the phoenix. It may feel like everything is dying. Slowly turning to what you fear may be the end of the journey. My new wings are here to tell you, rise. It is just the beginning, black turning to green. No death here, never death, only change and transformation. And the last one in this section on courage is called This Perfect Summer Day. I know some friends and I, we often talk about try to find one day in the summer that you can remember in the winter that might bring back the sunshine and the warmth. This perfect summer day. It is the end of a perfect summer day, a day of gentle breezes through my windows, pickling cucumbers from my garden, and snuggling with my cat, who keeps me living in the present moment. I decide to end my day at the beach, uniting my rhythms with the eternal waves. It is less crowded than usual, since tourists are limited in coming here. It is less crowded than usual, since tourists are limited in coming here. I relish the ocean smells, the gull screeches, the children playing, the people swimming. Not far away at the local hospital and at hospitals around the world, doctors, nurses, and other staff are doing all they can to keep people alive. Such a contrast is not lost on me as I share my journey with two friends challenged with illnesses, determined to bring them down. But they know, as I do, that in every moment there is a choice of how we will respond. Second section of the book is called Challenges. And the first poem is A World on Fire, which is where I took the title from the book. And I was inspired by Greta Thunberg when she said, you know, our world is on fire. This was before the fires began in California even. It was a saying that with all that was going on, even before the virus, that our world is in bad shape. A world on fire. War in the name of a cause, a god, or a perceived truth is a travesty of the humanity that calls us as brothers and sisters to a world community. We are the saviors the world is waiting for. We are the ones who are called to act, speak up, join hands across perceived barriers, and work to prevent the useless destruction of forests, homes, and natural habitat in the name of causes that have lost their relevance in a world on fire. When faced with challenges or grief, sometimes breathing is our best friend. This is called meditation on grieving. I take in deep breaths of hope and release deep breaths of despair. As I grieve the loss of civility, the rampant disregard for truth. I take in deep breaths of faith and release deep breaths of doubt as I grieve the use of religion to lead many astray from truth. I take in deep breaths of love and release deep breaths of hate as I grieve the loss of leadership from those who use power to sow division. Somewhere in this universe, faith, hope, and love still abide. I breathe in these qualities that they may come and dwell in me. The next one is called No Battle Plan. It's kind of self-explanatory. We know we are at war with no unified battle plan. The death count rises. 50 states with 50 different ideas how this should be handled. Its citizens at the mercy of politics, which present no reasonable plan at all. How long will the people wait until their lives become more important than the ideologies of their leaders? How long must they suffer the loss of loved ones who die alone and in immense pain? The beloved community is shattered, or was it ever there at all? And the next poem is my answer to No Battle Plan. It's called Returning to Balance. Mother Earth's heartbeat, heard in the ebb and flow of the ocean, speaks to us of a failure to honor her gifts. Her family of animals losing habitat, rainforests destroyed for farming, feeding the hunger for beef. Coral reefs are dying because of human interference that continues to warm up our only home. I pray that her heart continues to beat with hope as she waits for humanity to finally realize what she has always known. The laws of nature are sacred, must be honored or suffer the consequences. Only humility will return us to balance.
Video blinked out. We can't see you anymore.
You can't see me?
Nope.
Uh-oh, oh, wait a minute, let me check. Oh, my video is off, thank you. What happened?
You're on again.
I'm on again? Okay, great.
There
Thank
you are.
I don't know what happened. My cat didn't walk across the computer, so I don't know what that is. All right. Let's see. I have a speaker view, but I can't see myself, so I don't know what that's about. All right. Well, I guess I don't need to see myself. I only have one poem that references to Black Lives Matter. I've been very much enveloped in the whole planet, the issues with the planet and COVID. However, I did want to read this one. It's very important for me because this past year, I've realized more than ever in my life how privileged my life has been. Even though there was a lot of neglect as a child, even though I thought it was a terrible childhood and had to work through therapy and everything. So I talk at first about my childhood because that has always been what I have looked back on without a reference to whatever else was going on in the world. This is called My Life Mattered. I know what it's like to feel like your life doesn't matter. So long ago, but I remember. Warts on hands I hid under the desk when the nun came by. A friend's mother looking at my dirty kid self, assessing if she wants her daughter to play with that scruffy girl who knows that look. Roller skating with a friend who comments on the bugs crawling on my neck. I run home to where another round of foul-smelling liquid gets poured on my hair. Neglect was what I knew as a child. Teeth covered with tartar, my hand would hide my smile. For years, my outward appearance humbled me. I feared someone would discover the truth. However, I never, ever was pulled over because I was white. My car was never searched for drugs. My home never broken into, a gun pointed at my head. I have received kindness and deference because I was a nun. Others have smiled, officers have smiled, given me warnings because of my white hair. My skin color never put fear into a shop clerk. My presence never made anyone step aside, wondering if I would hurt them. Though I wasn't aware of it, I walked with white privilege, expecting proper behavior toward me at all times. I have prided myself in not taking my life for granted, always grateful for what I have. I never realized until now the protections that my white skin provides me. Thank you. I know I'm reading to the choir and reading to kindred souls. And thank you for your support. The last section is called Hope. And I begin with a paradox. Hummingbirds sip the nectar from the feeder provided them. Squirrels run to and fro, chasing each other and raiding the bird feeders. Rory, my black cat, sleeps in the sun, knowing only comfort. Hospitals are overburdened. Loved ones die alone. Fear, a great motivator for wearing masks and social distancing. Yet some choose self over the greater good. Let safety begin with me. Love guide my every choice as I keep moving with hope toward a better future. This I believe, we are one community, that we will survive or perish together. The next one is a reference to the misguided use of religion to in the past centuries to start wars or to turn people against each other. And this is my answer to that. It's called We Are All One. Whether you walk in a church, genuflect and cross yourself, or put on your tefillin, binding your heart to the God of your fathers, whether you raise your arms as you sway to gospel music, or kneel and bow to Allah as you recommit yourself to live by God's holy word. Whether you dance around the fire to honor the Great Mother, or walk the beach and sense a moment of transcendence, the creator of the ever-expanding universe, of the indisputable laws of nature, responds, do you know we are all one in the heart of love? The next one is dedicated to my my Wednesday night craft group. I don't see anybody from there. I thought I was going to, but maybe they're in another picture. Let me go and see. All right. So the next one is called A Safe Haven, and I wrote this for my craft group that meets on Wednesday nights. Wednesday is craft night. We rotate from home to home, bring a project to work on, knitting, crocheting, or mending. Telling stories is essential. Sharing family joys and sorrows. Sharing family joys and sorrows binds us in this group experience. Tonight we meet on Zoom again, wondering if we'll ever meet again face to face. Our conversation is lively as usual, but now more focused on how we are surviving or thriving in these days of lockdown, which we all agree are necessary. Conversation never falters, so much to share, children, grandchildren, and for one of us, great-grandchildren. This group of women is a safe haven for our emotions and the hope of a new day. This one is called the Morning Glories and really speak to how important flowers are for me. And while I was writing a lot of these poems, it was a very vibrant time, and I really felt connected to so much in the universe. And we had a little garden out here, and we grew morning glories. This is called the Morning Glories. Sitting with morning glories in my garden as before an altar of hope, a sacred moment. I've planted morning glories wherever I've lived in Maine. Being with them, I experience a holy calm. They look at me and seem to say, all is right in the world, Helen. All is right in the world. Right here, right now, this moment when you are totally present, nothing else matters. The world around you can be rotating in a vortex that is self-defeating. Let it do that. Just be here. Absorb the beauty we offer you, the peace and wholeness you feel whenever you sit with us. And don't forget us when the season is over. Remember what happens when we are together. Remember, trust that next summer we will meet again in this garden where hope begins. And the last poem I will read is called On This Beach. Let me die on this beach, low tide, easy walking, sun still warming my face on this first September day. Let me forever hear the lapping of the waves, music in my ears like none other, calling me to stay here and rest. Return to my original home. No loneliness or sense of loss as I feel the embrace of the tides, salt air, as I breathe free and release all that does not bring me peace. Changing fear to trust, holding on to letting go. I want to be like that kite and fly. Thank you, everyone. You can unmute now if you want. And if you have any questions, I want to thank you for letting me come into your homes to share my poetry, for the hands, for the clapping. It was just wonderful to see your faces. So if anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
I want to thank you so much, Helen, for the beautiful, beautiful poems, and your words were so touching, and I thank you so much.
No, you're welcome.
Helen?
Yes.
Helen, I don't have a question. I just wanted to say how timely your poems were. Even in this time of Trump and the pandemic and climate change, you gave us hope. My favorite poem was On This Beach, because that's how I feel when I walk the beach. But I want you to know that your poem, which you did not read, When You Remember Me, the last two lines, talking about yourself, what I really hope you say is, she lived with integrity. Hopefully you have many, many more years. Yes, you lived with integrity. Thank you so much for this beautiful book of poems.
Thank you, Anne. That means so much to me.
Helen, I just want to say I'm honored to be here today with
Thank you,
you.
Marcy.
And hi to Carrie, wherever she went. She was here, who I haven't seen in a while. But, you know, it's knowing you for a while and to see how your words have now blessed you in a way of claiming your power and to see the world in a different way, that it's has flowed from you in a great sense of healing through your words. And I'm honored to hear you read them today, and they're really very powerful and beautiful. Thank you for sharing them.
Thank you, Marcy. That means a lot
But
to me.
I want to add my 2 cents as well. In this time of real distress and discomfort in our world, I really appreciated your uplifting poetry. It is such a contrast, and it was wonderful. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill. It was good to see you.
Ditto. Ditto.
Who?
So, Helen, this is Sheila.
Hi, Sheila.
You remind me tonight of a Billy Collins poem, The Lanyard, where his mother gave him life and food and sat with him when he was sick during the night, and he gave her a lanyard. And I'm thinking, during the pandemic, Helen, you wrote and published a book. And I sat and stewed. And so thank you very much for this evening. I've got to get the book, more than one.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yes, that reminds me, you can go to my website, helenrousseau.com, and you can order the book,
Okay.
or you can send me an email and I'll send one to you. If you order the book, I get the notice right away and I send it out the same day. But if you're living in Kennebunk, it would be cheaper if you just notify me. I could meet you somewhere.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, my heart is so full. Yes.
I wanted to tell you how much I enjoyed listening to you this evening.
Thank you, Beverly.
Your voice is so melodic, and I especially liked your poem on the Phoenix.
Oh, thank you.
That
Thank you.
resonated with me.
And Beverly is in my Wednesday night craft group, so it's good to have you here, Beverly.
Helen, can I just say
Yes,
thank
Laura.
you. It was lovely to hear you reading, and I honor, like so many have said, like just to have a positive voice in this not necessarily positive time. And I so appreciate hearing you read your poems. It adds a whole, I mean, I have the books and I've read them, and I just really appreciate hearing your voice. And I loved the one you wrote about the Wednesday craft group, even though I no longer participate.
That's right. Laura's the one that started us. That's correct. Thank you, Laura.
You have your chat up, Helen, but you got some nice comments in there too.
Who said that?
Sorry, it was Allison. You have some comments in the chat as well.
Oh, okay. Wonderful.
And I'll speak to Helen. This is Patricia.
Yes, hi.
It's beautiful. I mirror what Laura said. I've read your poems, but your words today just carried them to me. It's just like a wave. It's beautiful. And I love how you take tough places and bring the light. Thank you for being that kind of person.
Oh, thank you, Patricia.
And Helen,
I promise. Hi.
this is Stacy.
Yes, Stacy.
I just wanted to say you've added another dimension to our.
Oh, he froze.
Yeah. Ellen, I have to go. I'll see you.
All right, Marcy. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
What a treat to have you. Stacy, you all set now? Oops.
What's that?
You froze up a minute. What were you saying?
Oh, I said I wanted to thank you. You've added another dimension to our friendship.
Thank you. I am the one that's blessed. I know that. I promise I won't let my head get big, because I do believe in humility, and I do believe that these poems are gifts. You know, we've been in my circle of creativity. We've been reading Elizabeth Gilbert's Big Magic, and it's all about creativity. And she says there are stories out here, but if you're not listening, the story's going to go right by you. And so I really think it's important as a poet and a writer. Sometimes I don't sit down to write. I sit down to be quiet. And it's only when I'm quiet, then all of a sudden a phrase might come into my mind, and then I continue writing. So the silence is very important to me in writing. So I just feel very humbled by all your words, and I'm just very grateful that we can share these feelings.
A few minutes ago.
Just want to thank you. That was wonderful. I think you surpassed your last book. This is so timely.
Oh, thank you, Joni.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'll be getting the book.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Helen? Thank you so much, Helen. Like every good poet, you corral the feelings and distill them and give us back a wonderful essence that we can understand and enjoy and grow from. Thank you, Helen.
Thank you, Joan. Thank you, Joan.
Hi, Helen. This will be posted on our YouTube channel, accessible from the Kennebunk Free Library website, so you can watch it again if you want to.
Thank you. Oh, so it'll be on
that's great.
YouTube. All right, because I've asked friends who couldn't make it tonight, and I said it would be recorded. So they'll go on YouTube at Kennebunk Free Library.
All right.
Thank you very
Helen,
much.
before you go,
Yes.
I just want to say that was lovely.
Thank you,
And
Sue.
knowing you for as long as I have, I am so proud.
Thank you.
You know, for you to be just in the right place, you know, a healthy place, a happy place, makes me so happy.
Thank you, Sue. Sue's a friend from almost 40 years, so thank you, Sue.
And Helen, this is Ruth. I want to thank you for reading the poems, because for me, hearing the voice of the author is very helpful in really picking up the meaning rather than me reading on my own. So thank you.
Thank you. I do enjoy doing the readings. I do. And I really feel it's a connection. Even though it's on Zoom, I feel I felt the connection from everybody in the audience, and it just fills my heart. Thank you so much.
Good.
I don't know how much more time we have, so I don't want to keep the library here. That's not bad. It's only 6:10, so we're good.
I'm in no hurry.
Thank you, Allison. Anything else? You know what? Since Anne mentioned that poem, I think that I will read it as we end, if that's okay.
Sure.
As soon as I find it. It's called When You Remember Me. When you remember me, it will not be important to say I was a nun, that I wrote poetry and songs in my struggle to find my voice. When you remember me, I hope you can say I was a faithful friend with a compassionate heart. Say how I loved cats, that making puzzles grounded me and reading memoirs inspired me. What I really hope you say is, she lived with integrity. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for coming, taking your evening. I'm so honored by your presence. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
Allison.
It was lovely
Thank
to
you.
see you all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.